This content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper Goren Holm or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
I'm bringing out the entire bottle of control.
They're all exactly the same.
Crypto art, and then what it really is an NFT.
Wow.
Eddie wants to slap the bag.
So this is the next best thing.
DeFi is going to be a bubble.
It's provably scarce.
With Mad Dog.
Crypto, gold, and silver.
Transparent substance.
Take my money, start a war with it.
Without further ado,
cheers to you, brother.
Get shit on because the system has to collapse before that.
Corona.
Cheers, I feel much better now.
Cheers.
Wow, that was heavy. What's going on, Blockchain and Booze Nation? Welcome to session 55 of Blockchain and Booze. That means we're week 55 into quarantine. For those who are new to Blockchain and Booze, welcome. How you doing? Grab a drink. My name is Adam Levy. I'm your host. And basically every single week, we do these really fun sessions where I bring in some of the top builders in crypto and we discuss a fun topic over a drink. And every single week we've been doing it, and it's been a lot of fun. And it started as a way for us to kind of get together and mingle on a Tuesday evening, and then 55 weeks down, here we are. And it's been great. So session 55, we got a really special session today, all things pertaining to the metaverse. But before I give that intro, guys, keep in mind, this is 100% live, and we have a live audience joining us in Remo. And if you want to be in the conversation, go to meet.blockchainbooze.io, meet.blockchainbooze.io. And there, you'll basically be able to hang out, network, and talk and drink with everybody else that's watching live. So I know we got a really cool audience planned up. I already see people in the QA. We got David drinking tequila from LA. We got a lot of people in New Jersey and so on and so forth. Amazing. What's up, guys? Cheers, cheers, cheers. I want to go ahead and introduce our guests. I'm very excited. I really respect them individually for what they've done in the space outside of the digital world and in the physical world. And let me stop talking and let me just bring him on stage. So we got the one and only Whale Shark. We got GREGMIKE. And we got FVCKRENDER. Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Blockchain and Booze.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for having us.
How are we feeling?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good. Feeling
good.
Good.
Now, I need more energy than that, Greg. I see you taking a sip, FVCKRENDER. Whale Shark, I'm drinking for you virtually because we can't tell what you got going behind the scenes. So,
bro, I just Irish my coffee. I'm right there up with you guys.
Amazing. Cheers. Let's go down the line really quick. FVCKRENDER, what are you drinking? What are you drinking?
Drinking this Grenville Island Pilsner Lager, which is a very light blonde. It's starting to be nice outside, so decided to go light.
Nice. Greg, what are you drinking?
I'm sipping on this Lloyd's Atlanta-based beverage by Arches Brewing. Got to support the local.
Nice. And Whale Shark, you said you got Irish coffee going on right now?
So it's I'm currently based out of Hong Kong. It's 8 a.m. in the morning, but wanted to join in spirit as well as in alcohol. So I just sprinkled a tiny bit of Bailey's into my coffee. I'm right there with all of you.
Guys, cheers to each of you. Thank you for being here. And I wanna get into the conversation because we got a really cool discussion going on. I'm a big fan of each of your works, as I've said earlier. And I wanted to have the three of you specifically on this session of Blockchain and Booze because you guys are a perfect dynamic. FVCKRENDER, we got you dabbling in all things digital. GREGMIKE, you're a killer when it comes to the virtual world, and now you're dabbling in the digital world. And Whale Shark, you collect in both. You collect on your Instagram, you display a lot of your work and different pictures and paintings that you have, as well as one of the most avid NFT collectors virtually. And what better way to talk to the three of you than kind of just dive what the hell is happening with what we call, or what I coined personally, the metaverse. Well, not the metaverse, more of the Metassance that's coming out of the metaverse. And before we get into that, I want to quickly start and jump into each of your backgrounds. Okay, so we can start with Whale Shark, go to FVCKRENDER, and then GREGMIKE. Really quick, talk me through, I guess, how you got started in the crypto space and NFT world. So we can start with Whale Shark and then move down.
Absolutely, would love to. So I go by the pseudonym Whale Shark. I am actually a very early crypto adopter. Joined the space in 2012, purchased a lot of Bitcoin, sold all of that Bitcoin for Ethereum in 2015. And then after that, entered into NFTs in 2019 with Gods Unchained, which is a digital tradable card collectible game based on the blockchain. And from there, it's been a slippery slope down into crypto art, the metaverse, and digital collectibles all around.
Amazing. FVCKRENDER? Hold on, I think we lost you for a second.
The call. Yeah, I'm a digital artist based in Vancouver. I've been creating this thing called FVCKRENDERverse, which is a new way to experience the NFT that I'm creating. And I want to create something that is true to myself, but a new vision of what NFT should look like. And I'm currently developing this full-time, a little bit more than full-time, but yeah. That's what I do.
Nice. And GREGMIKE?
Yeah, what's up? It's GREGMIKE. I come more from the physical space, I think, originally, painting street art and murals for the past 15, 20 years. Always have done digital art in terms of that's how I kind of create all my works that are then painted on the streets or canvas. So definitely I've always been into the digital aspect and graphic design side of things. So about a year ago, I was introduced to the NFT space and launched my first NFT in February with Nifty Gateway. And that was my first collection. So definitely kind of dove in head first over the last year and just really excited about the space and what's going on. And
you're based in Atlanta, right?
Yep, Atlanta, Georgia.
And I know you've tatted the entire city, or I guess most of Atlanta, from what it seems like online. I've never visited. Do I have that correct? Right. I feel like your work is scattered throughout everywhere.
Yeah. I try to. I mean, Atlanta's obviously home base, so I definitely have a lot of work on the streets here. But try to put up as much in the public as possible, not only in Atlanta but other cities I visit as well.
Amazing, guys. I'm very excited for today's topic. The Metassance, okay? I look at this thing, the creative revolution that kind of Web3 birthed, right? And cryptocurrencies birthed, blockchain technology birthed. That's happening as we speak, okay? And we're going through like this monumental revolution in history that I feel like the history books will document and teach our future generations. And it's quite the time to be alive. And I wanted to kind of get each of your perspectives. How do you define the Metassance, like the revolution that Web3 birthed? How do you guys kind of look at that from your own point of view? We can start with Whale Shark and then move our way down.
Sure. So I see the Metassance really as the revolution that truly brought true ownership and management to digital assets, right? So I think for a very long time now, we have been living in an era whereby our lives are getting more and more digital all the time, right? We're spending more of the time on the internet. We're spending more and more money on digital goods. But up to this point, without Web 3.0, you really didn't own any of those digital assets, right? I could buy a Fortnite skin. I could sell it on a Fortnite platform. I really didn't own it because I couldn't give it away or I couldn't sell it to anybody and everybody who I wanted to. All of a sudden, with the advent of Web 3.0, the Ethereum mainnet, and then after that, NFT technology, all of a sudden, the digital assets that I actually purchase, I can actually hold them anywhere I want to, and I could even set a space up in Walmart and actually sell my NFTs or digital assets there. So I think it really, the Metassance is, again, it's finally true commercialization, ownership, and management of digital assets. And what that is creating is a wealth of collectors as well as creators coming into the space to be able to capitalize and to be able to utilize this amazing technology.
And did you say Walmart? You can set up.
Yeah.
Have you set up a storefront at Walmart?
I am sure that I might not be the first one, but if I ever do get the opportunity to set up a pallet display of NFTs at Walmart, I will be one of the first people to do so.
I love it. FVCKRENDER, how do you view the Metassance from your point of view as a creator, as like an avid digital creator? What do you look at?
Yeah, and to be like fully honest, like I'm not the one who has the most technical knowledge about crypto. I'm learning literally every day, and it's something that is very interesting to me. And I've been literally deep diving into all this space. But to me and to us artists, is on the standpoint of digital art, is being able to be recognized as digital artists, as artists, and not being digital artists anymore. We're artists. And to me, this is probably the biggest thing for us, because it allows us to give first more confidence about our work, because for the longest time I've applied to art galleries in Montreal and everywhere in LA and stuff like this, and I was too digital. It wasn't like they were always saying to me, "That's not art. That's just digital, like bullshit." So to me, like, this is probably the biggest thing. Is like, now I have like an art gallery that turned me down about 4 years ago, that reached out to me. It's like maybe 2 weeks ago, and they want to do an art event, and I could have been like super cocky and just say, like, yeah, fuck off, and I don't want to do it. But like, I think we're all learning all together, and like, I think it's I accepted the offer. I think it's all about like growing and community building. But to me, the main thing is for artists to be able to be treated as artists, like digital artists as artists, if that makes sense.
So how was that feeling that you got rejected 4 years ago, and now they explicitly reached out to you after seeing all the damage, all the noise that you've created? What was that like?
Yeah, honestly, like, I'm so used to it. Like, I've been rejected to all the schools. I quit school when I was like almost 17 years old, because I was a terrible student. I got rejected to so many things that I'm kind of now used to it. But I was really stoked to see that they changed their mindset, because to me, this is the most important thing to me, is like for people to be able to grow out of its situation and be like, hey, and I know they probably just want my name there because I made some cool things, I think. But at the end of the day, if I can end that day with a discussion with them and explain my art, like, I won at the end. Like, that's the old goal, like, kind of.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And Greg, you're an incredible muralist, right? You focus a lot on the physical world. How do you see this Metassance era kind of like in transition to what you're doing? And because I see you come in more into the digital side of things, right? You released your drop on Nifty Gateway. You had a couple. You did a celebration on Decentraland. So like, how do you kind of view this whole Metassance in your point of view?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out kind of how to merge them all. I think like both sides, I think what really excites me is that crossover and how those worlds are kind of starting to play together. I'm really hyped on the idea of kind of how archival it's able to make artwork in general. I mean, for me, coming from the physical space, the murals that I paint, they're not going to be there forever, right? They're a moment in time. They get painted over. Buildings get knocked down. So when I think about art in the digital space on the blockchain and NFTs, it's something that I am really excited about, that it's going to be there, forever. Even when we paint, canvases or do works on papers, like, those things aren't truly archival. So for me, it really excites me to create digital work. Is something that I know that's going to live on forever and ever. And, obviously, like, artists that are now able to kind of get royalties, that's not something we saw in the physical space. So that's really exciting when I'm thinking, generations down the line with my work and how it lives on. And also just the ability to kind of use NFTs as a way to document moments of time in my art career. When I did my Mad Cans release, which was the first series that I launched with Nifty, like Mad Cans Series 1, that was all inspired by a show that I produced of physical items in 2009 that I toured around the US. So it's things like that where I feel like you can kind of like, tell your story in a really archival fashion with NFTs, knowing that they're going to be there forever versus like, a piece of physical work that one day could disappear, get stolen, lost, burn in a house or fire, or, I mean, it's like that's not truly archival, and NFTs are truly archival. So to me, that's what excites me about the metaverse, and just like, and the Metassance is just like, where we can take it and how long this thing can live way after all of us are gone.
And I imagine, especially for you, it's like a new way of thinking, right? And how to approach art and how to create art. I'm curious to hear from all of your perspectives. What was life like before NFTs, before the metaverse? Because I can imagine now all the attention is on the digital world, right? Give or take. There's still obviously demand in the physical world, Greg, from your side. But what was life like before that? Because now you guys are approaching this stuff. You guys are getting creative with your digital experiences, quote unquote. What was life like for you before getting involved, Greg?
Well, I mean, I've definitely had a pretty wild, past, I guess, 10 years of my career since, being a professional artist and traveling the world and painting and doing shows. So, I mean, I think the workload has been pretty consistent in terms of like producing work. I think just like from a creative aspect, it's really just inspired me to the next level that I've never imagined over the past year. I'm kind of like, just thinking of art in new ways and not just, putting paint on a canvas, thinking about the utility aspect and what you can do with NFTs and how it's like this ongoing story that can evolve over, the next 100,000 years. It's like, that to me is what it's the creative ideas that I've had. And I think that's what's really, that's really been exciting to me is like, the utility aspect, how you can use these things, creating these virtual worlds. I mean, I think I was like kind of dabbling in it here and there in the past, but now it's just making way more sense and things are clicking and not just for me, but my collectors as well. As the story continues to unfold.
Sure. FVCKRENDER, how about for you? I know you've built quite the social audience for yourself, specifically on Instagram. What was life like for you before you started creating art specifically for the NFT world?
Yeah, honestly, since pretty much I'd say after the first 6 months, I started to do 3D and art in general. I started to have like client work and a good flux of client work. So I've always been someone who was keeping myself busy. I applied to so many studio jobs, always got rejected because I didn't have the technical skills, and I still don't have the technical skills, and I'm totally fine with it. I'm more someone who create art from inside more than being able to rig a character, but that's another conversation. But so yeah, to me, I think I've always chose the road to create my own vision and my own world instead of executing something for others, and it has always been like something that was very important to me, is just like do my own thing. And I think this comes especially from all the rejection from the studios and stuff like this, that it made me realize that I don't need this, I can do my own thing. So yeah, and I decided to build a good audience on Instagram. There's no like real strategy. I just like put out some work for the past 6 years constantly, and like I reach out to clients and did amazing client work with amazing people. And yeah, I was pretty fortunate on this side, honestly.
Yeah, and Whale Shark, I know you have this amazing community, the whale community, right? But I'm curious, like, what was life like for you before you started becoming an avid collector? I know you were doing the corporate world and focusing on social entrepreneurship. You had your clothing brand that you were doing. Like, what was that transition like, moving from that side of the world to where you are now?
So Adam, it has been, in 2 words, inspiring and all-consuming. I would say that would be my transition. Again, I think as an investor, I had always been in Web 3.0, right? Early to crypto, early to DeFi, but I had never FOMO'd as hard into a Web 3.0 sector, harder than I ever FOMO'd into NFTs. And I think that really flows into the transition as me as a collector, because as you pointed out, prior to NFTs, I would collect here and there. I'd collect a little bit of things. But it really didn't gel with me because I wasn't I'm from a generation that values technology, that values the digital, and NFTs just really struck a chord with me. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, again, my shift, I do a lot of different things, and one of my core focuses before discovering NFTs was actually in artificial intelligence. I've been very lucky to have a very strong team all around the world that can now manage that. And they allow me to just focus on my passion, which is NFTs and Web 3.0, and actually building out this amazing community, Adam, that you pointed out. To date, now Whale is the world's largest general collector and creator community of NFTs. We have I think we have about 16,000 people worldwide. And you just point out we had Paris Hilton just in the stream just now as well. Things have gotten crazy, Adam. It's been absolutely crazy. Have made a ton of new friends. Have made a ton of like-minded friends, and it's just been an amazing boon to my life.
It's amazing because I remember I came across you, Whale Shark, in Clubhouse in DJ Blau's iconic drop, right? The one that made headlines. And I remember being specifically in that Clubhouse room. I was on stage, but a lot of the attention was obviously on you towards the end of the auction. And one thing that I kind of noticed from you is that you're very particular with what you collect, right? Obviously, these headlines have added a lot of new, whether you want to call it amateur collectors that are trying to do quick cash grabs, or not collectors, creators, that are trying to do quick cash grabs, and also those that are actually creating for generations, quote unquote, to come, right? And that's more of the ethos that I'm hearing right now, that vision. You got to be creating NFTs for the next 100 years, like you said, GREGMIKE. Whale Shark, as an investor, as a collector, what do you kind of look for to dictate that, okay, I know this person is going to be creating for the long term. I know this isn't just going to be a cash grabs kind of thing, and I want to invest in them as a person, as what they're doing. How do you see that? How do you view that? How do you differentiate that?
So I think you guys are spot on. And once again, I'm honored to be among, FVCKRENDER and Greg here today, because again, digital art really is the basis for this entire revolution. So I think we can look at it at two different levels, Adam. I think the first way that we can look at it is, what sort of NFTs are going to exist for the next 100 years. As you pointed out, you have 99% of the Web 3.0 NFT projects launching in the space. It's a cash grab. You see a big pump. You see a huge dump after that. And the project is more or less dead in 3 to 6 months. Can't even count the number of projects that do that. So from my perspective, from a project level, I'm really looking at first on the first level for projects that are going to sustain the next 10 years, 20 years, and 100 years. And for me, that is things like digital art. Those are like digital collectibles like NBA Top Shots. And the reason why is because you can tell that they are just a natural digital evolution of things that we collect in the physical space, right? Anything that goes beyond that, it's really a coin toss in order to say, hey, this is really going to be adopted in the digital space. And I can tell you 2 years ago when I entered the space and, people were buying, I still, and I do have some, but people were buying, digital gaming assets, people were buying digital land and all of these sort of things. They're wonderful assets. But I always told people that, the number one thing that I love the most out of all of these NFTs is going to be digital art, because it is just a natural evolution and necessity for the commercialization and for the recognition of digital art as a whole. Now, in terms of creators, I'm just a huge proponent of buy what you love, right? From a digital art perspective, you really can't go wrong if you buy what you love, because at the end of the day, as long as you love the artist, you love what they do, they have a dedication to their craft, and they're going to create for the next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. At the end of the day, no matter what that price action looks like on the pieces, you're still going to have a beautiful piece to hang up on your holographic screen, maybe, right? 50 years down the road. So for me, I love all the artists and I love everything that they create. Again, it's really specific to individuals' taste and style in terms of which creators they do decide to collect, though.
It's interesting because you bring from a collector's point of view, right? Whether it be from you liking the piece itself or an investment point of view, betting on the NBA that it's already been around for a long time and it's going to continue to be there. So that's why it's a good piece to your collection or whatever it may be. But Greg and FVCKRENDER, you guys are creators, right? You guys are creating these experiences in an effort to have them stand and last for many, many years to come. Greg, when you're creating these NFTs, when you're creating these physical works of art, how do you get to that, I guess, mindset to create something that is going to be built upon, quote unquote, 100 years from now? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so I mean, I think with my work, I mean, it was always exciting for me because it's, I hadn't done a lot of animation work. So all my paintings and my physical stuff was all flat, and I create in a very, almost vector animated cartoon style. So it was kind of a natural progression to kind of bring some of these things to life. I mean, you see like paintings behind me, like, when I paint these things, I see them when I'm creating these things, moving and animated. And so when I started thinking about NFTs, it was just all these kind of ideas that came to mind of, things that I wanted to see in my head creatively. So for me, I just think it's really, like I mentioned before, like it's a documentation of time throughout for my career, and as I continue to progress as an artist, like the NFTs are going to continue to progress, and they're going to be, this timeline, and they're going to be points in this long timeline of my, my art career as a whole. So I think as I grow as an artist and I get into, different things or inspired by, whatever it might be I come across as an artist, I think you're going to see that, in my NFTs as well. And when you look back, if you look back at it at a 40, 60 year art career, you're kind of going to see the progression and over time, which I think is an awesome way to document a career. I mean, right now that stuff is online. I mean, you could go and, search through social media and see all these digital, things that I've created, whether it was, things that are posted online or on websites and whatnot. But I think NFTs are a really, incredible way to document that on the blockchain. So.
Yeah, and FVCKRENDER, how do you view that? Like, how do you get to a point of view where you? Oh, sorry about that. I think there's an echo. Is it on my end? Do you guys hear that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yep, I hear it too.
Hold on. FVCKRENDER, you want to refresh really quick?
Yeah, how do I do this? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. But I can hear myself too.
Technology.
I know. This happens all the time. Stuff like this. How are we doing now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Yep.
We'll wait for him to come on. But Greg, you're saying it's more from the perspective of documentation versus creating like an experience that's going to last for, I guess, years to come. Like I see it from the point of view like these are puzzle pieces, right, into the grand scheme of things. But you see it as more of documentation.
No, I mean I think it's both, honestly, because I'm building out virtual worlds and things like that now that are going to be fully, an experience. So I think it's both. I think it's a cool aspect that it is truly archival and and it's going to be documented. But yeah, I mean everything with art is. Okay, I'm back. An echo now.
Still, there's an echo.
Might be the headphones or something.
Oh, good. I'm going to remove him for now. I see him in the green room. Go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think anytime you create art, it's an experience, right? And the goal is for it to be an immersive experience. So, and I think like creating these virtual worlds or these stories, like you're saying, and these, pieces of art that become a puzzle that develops over time. That's all part of it. I just think the archival and documentation side of it is really interesting and something we haven't experienced before.
Yeah. Whale Shark, from your point of view, do you see these when you invest in someone, when you buy a collection, beyond you enjoying the piece itself? Do you envision, like, can you see the long-term success in terms of it being a puzzle piece versus just a one-off type of experience? For example, like the pack drop, right? I know you're a big fan of pack and everything that's happening. That's obviously like a period and an experience that he's been building up, right, and creating for some time. Like, what's your point of view on that?
So I actually agree with Greg from an archival perspective, because I think, again, when you talk about and once again, it has both those elements. But from an archival perspective, while I can't paint for shit, right? I wish I did, and I love art. I love drawing. I love all of that. And back in grade school, I used to do quite a bit of art. But nowadays, I can't create and I can't archive using art. So the way that I do it as a business person is that, I take a lot of the white papers or a lot of the business documentation that we created behind Whale, and we turn them actually into NFTs as an archive of our journey, right? So I think, again, the basis of as much as it is a digital evolution of being able to finally, truly own, truly manage, and truly be able to commercialize art. At the same time, it does provide a use case for people to document their journey. I mean, dude, can you even imagine if Vitalik had tokenized the original Ethereum white paper back in the day? If NFTs existed back then, and how much that would be worth now, not only from a sentimental perspective, but also from a commercial perspective. It goes beyond, just the visual arts as well. Pertaining to Pak is doing amazingly well. I just checked up on his auction earlier today. I think he sold like 15,000 units of his cubes, and then after that, I think he has 2 bids on his one of ones above 1 million. The thing I love about Pak is that, his work is also eternal. He looks for a very eternal minimalistic style. And, in the future, while NFTs might be the way that we commercialize and we manage and we truly own digital assets for the next decade, I'm sure that, there is going to be a new technology and there is going to be something new later on that might improve upon what we're using right now, as is with everything. So I see it as both. I do see it as a one-of-one, and I also do see it as a way to really archive, our journey, as whether that's a collector, whether that's as an entrepreneur, or whether that's as a creator. Fully agree with Mike.
Sure. I'm gonna add FVCKRENDER again really quick. FVCKRENDER, can you hear us? Still echo. All good. You got some time. I'm gonna remove you. Let's move on. So this whole ethos of decentralization right now, okay, and kind of like removing the middleman, that not one center of authority is controlling everything. Do you guys think that would still apply to the metaverse, or do you think there will be a point in time where there's going to be that one big influencer, there's going to be that one big community, that one big platform that's going to like dominate it and kind of, you know what I mean, like be that center head of control amongst other people using the metaverse?
I think so far, the blockchain has really lived up to its reputation as being a democratizing force of value, right? When we look at, and once again, I don't even need to bring up instances from crypto or from DeFi. I can just talk about NFTs. But when you look at it today, people, when they saw online galleries, like Super Rare, Nifty Gateway, Maker's Place, Known Origin in the space, they were worried, hey, is this curation going to be a main authority for what art is? But I can tell you that some of the most wonderful artists that even I collect, they're dropping on platforms like OpenSea or Rarible, where there is no curation, right? So essentially, as a collector, I'm going to not only, the main galleries or the main curated platforms, but I'm also going into the edges and into the corners of the metaverse to look for all these amazing artists. And case in point, I love street art, right? So I actually love looking at Greg's work quite a bit. Another street artist that I do tend to look at is Pascal Boyard, right? Based out of France. And Pascal, he didn't start by launching on Super Rare. He started by launching on OpenSea, right? So I think that really is a true example that, blockchain really does remove all of those gatekeepers. And even if there are people who are trying to become gatekeepers, simply because the barriers to entry are so low, just starting up a gallery and all of these things, I mean, the barriers to entry are so low that you're going to see intense competition. And I don't think you'll see, this one juggernaut that monopolizes this entire space. Granted, and the other thing that last point I would add to that is, over my time and my short time in the space, which has been about 2 years now, we've seen large collectors or we've seen large authorities and influencers try to kingmake, right? They try to kingmake in the space. I can tell you it's not possible. Every single artist that is up there on the ranks has made it completely on their own. and not because some whale or some influencer decided to kingmake them. They might say good things about them, but it's just simply not possible to kingmake now simply because that value is democratized.
Sure. Let's try this again. Fuck render. What's up, man? Can you hear us? Try again. Speak.
Oh, no, I can hear. Oh my god! It's
Now we hear like burping and is that the beer, bro? It's all good. Do your thing. I'm gonna remove you off stage again. That has never happened before. That's hilarious. I don't know. Is that like his stomach growling? Is that from the booze? I hope that's from the booze. I guess
like some.
Yeah, let's go one more time.
Like an audio effect.
Let's try this.
Okay, does this work?
No, still echo. Okay, I guess I was speaking more from the point of view. Let's talk about specifics really quick. Decentraland, okay? Obviously, you can buy a bunch of parcels of land. What happens when you get to a point where Decentraland is supposed to be, I guess, community owned? And I might ask this question of negligence because I haven't utilized Decentraland completely, but just from my perspective of playing with it briefly, you can basically buy all the plots of land right now and monetize them for advertising, for commerce, whatever it may be, right? And be that center figurehead of authority. Do you guys see that kind of unfolding as we get deeper and deeper into the metaverse?
So for every Decentraland, there is going to be a crypto voxels. That's what I would say.
Okay.
That's the way that I would answer that.
Yeah.
So essentially, again, the barriers to entry are so low in this space that as long as you have an amazing project, I think a project is going to be able to accumulate some sort of influence within the space. Now, speaking to Decentraland specifically, it's a wonderful place to have digital experiences, right, and digital social experiences. However, I think there are I would put forth 2 points. The first point I would say is that, it would be extremely difficult to accumulate all that land. I know that many people are waiting to sell their Decentraland land so that they can buy a continent or a private island, right? So you have that in place. And then at the same time, when you look at the metaverse and the Metassance as a whole, you got, crypto voxels, you have Sandbox, and then you have Decentraland, right? You have 3 major metaverse-based platforms that are competing with each other for content. And part of that equation of the democratization of value is having that insane amount of competition whereby projects are just pushing the boundaries for collaboration, for content, and for creation. That really, makes it not a winner-takes-all proposition as the space continues to grow further.
Yeah. And GREGMIKE, I guess from your point of view, because you had an entire drop and a party in Decentraland, right? How do you actually create NFT experiences and integrate them with this quote unquote metaverse? Like, how do you view that when you're doing that?
So we produce, a lot of events in the physical space. So it was just a natural thing. I think once COVID had hit, we kind of shifted a lot virtually. So that was kind of, we actually produced a whole virtual festival called Inner Space Project. That's kind of based off our outer space project that we produced in Atlanta for 5 years. And it was an all virtual arts festival. So I kind of was used to that mindset of figuring out how to kind of try to create the same experience, that would happen in the physical space with, live music, DJs. We did a bunch of like live art things in the past in the virtual space. So when I collaborated with Nightmare and Decentraland came to us and they wanted to do an event for it, I just thought it was a perfect opportunity just to take over a space. I mean, what I loved about it is being able to put art on all the walls, have a live DJ set that was happening and then use that as an event to celebrate the launch of the NFT. So, I kind of like curate it and program it the same way that I would with a gallery exhibition or event or art opening. I think we're just going to see a lot more of that as the technology gets better and better. I think it's still, they're still kind of fine tuning all that, but over the next 10 years, I think it's going to be just a very hybrid thing that happens where there are, what I'd like to see is with my exhibitions as well is, having a physical exhibition with physical works, but then also a virtual replication of that gallery in the virtual space as well, and then also having things that are only available in certain places, like so work that are only available in the virtual space when you know, whether that's on platforms like Decentraland or in the physical space, and also having like the AR components that kind of cross over in both worlds.
Yeah, I really look forward to the day, because I've watched some of your videos on YouTube, and you're on these like extenders, whatever you want to call them, right? Painting walls, doing your thing. I really look forward to the day where I get to see you do that in the metaverse and you're actually creating something live. I think that'd be super sick. How far away do you think we are from that?
I don't think that far. I mean, that was one thing I brought up on our call with Decentraland, and just because I know they are building out some, you know, custom, you know, nightclubs and spaces for some of these DJs that we're working with, and I'm really hyped on the ability to be able to create murals on these buildings, and like you're saying, like, you know, like the ability for us to change out artwork in the digital space is way faster and way more efficient from a financial standpoint than, you know, renting a massive boom lift and spending a week out in the physical world. So I'm really excited to see like where that goes. Like you're saying, like painting these massive walls inside the virtual space and then being able to really experience them in VR, because I still don't, we're not there yet, you know. You know, about, you know, putting on headsets and really get to experience these art galleries and VR and these spaces. Yeah, I think, you know, we're still like 5-10 years for that to really be dialed in.
Sure. Let's try bringing up FVCKRENDER again and see if his stomach growls. Let's see. FVCKRENDER, are you with us? You're muted.
Might be the headphones.
Is this better?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. Boom. Here we are.
There you go.
There it is.
You go.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. Maybe at some point we can actually conduct this interview in the metaverse, and there will be no need to remove people on and off stage. One thing that no worries. Cheers. All is good. One thing I wanted to bring up is you guys have a lot of collectors, right? And Whale Shark, you have a lot of people in your community. And I think we could take this question from both point of view, from an investor and a collector perspective and a creator perspective. There's a lot of these addresses, wallets that interact with your work. Either they buy it, they engage with it. How do you guys actually contact them? How do you guys get in touch? How do you guys engage with them beyond their purchase? Right. And maybe this is more obvious through Nifty Gateway because they'll provide you with their contact information. But for a lot of these creators that don't have that type of access or that type of funnel, what are like the best ways to engage with anonymous people online that love your work after they purchase it, after they collect it? Like, what have you guys seen? Or are you guys doing anything particularly?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, honestly, because I'm always trying to figure out how to connect with folks, especially folks that are anonymous. It's challenging at times. So I'd love to hear what Well, you know, says from, you know, more the collector standpoint. But through the way that I've done it has just been through, like you were saying, through Nifty and email addresses, but definitely trying to navigate those waters a little better.
FVCKRENDER, how do you view that?
Yeah, to me, like I'm kind of a shy person, so I don't like, if someone buys my piece, I'm not gonna go like talk to them, because I don't want, like, to me it feels so weird to go like, hey, thank you for buying my piece, and to me it feels like as much as I really want to go talk to them, I don't want to annoy people in the same in a kind of way. But at the same time, I started to collect more pieces, and I now own I think I now own 300 NFTs, and I love it so much when people reach out to me and be like, hey, like, thank you so much and everything. So this made me realize that I should maybe contact more my collectors. But I've been really lucky that my collectors have been reaching out to me initially. So this to me made everything way more simple, but yeah, it's I think it's important to engage conversation and be just like, get to know who's collecting.
Yeah, I think when I mentioned it, I think it's more too like I'd like the ability to reward and offer things to collectors. And in terms of contacting them, that's where my interest is really. You know, if certain people have collected certain NFTs, maybe out of a certain series, and then I decide I want to drop a limited edition physical print and only offer it to those people. That's kind of where my head is, like the best way to really get in touch with those folks without having, like, the only way now that I currently like do it is whether it's an email address provided, or if it's, you know, me putting a blast out on social media, whether that's Twitter or Instagram or something like that, and you know, those folks then DMing me.
Yeah, and Will, I know you have your huge Discord channel, but I feel like a lot of artists would like Greg is saying, like Fuck Render is saying, what's the funnel like right now to get in touch, to engage in people, anonymous people all over the web that just engage and buy your stuff or buy other people's stuff?
Gotcha. I think again, Greg and Fuck Render actually bring up very, very valid points. And sorry, before I begin, Fuck Render, I think your name is genius. It allows me to drop the F-bomb without being coined as overly aggressive. So thank you so much for letting me drop the F-bomb multiple times during this stream. Love you, man. But so I guess again, my general point is I've made so many friends over the last 2 years. And a lot of those friends are artists. I think to Greg's point, you know, there are several ways that an artist can interact with collectors. The first way is to really gamify their drops, right? So, hey, if you collect this one, I'm going to be dropping an artwork to the same ETH address that purchased this artwork later on, right? And, you know, again, there's that gratitude that goes from the collector to the creator, but also from the creator to the collector. To Fuck Render's point, again, there are artists that, you know, are a little bit more introverted, a little bit more shy, and don't reach out. But, you know, when I start to collect 5 pieces, 6 pieces, 10 pieces of their work, you know, I really want to get in touch because I want to say how much I appreciate their artwork, right? So I think what you've seen, back to the point about, you know, the decentralization or the decentralized nature of NFTs, is that it's also decentralized communication. Previously in the traditional art world, you know, the closest you could get to an artist is, you know, I got to speak to the gallery will speak to the artist. Or I got to speak to the gallery will speak to their agents, and then the agents will speak to their artist. All of a sudden, you have this decentralized nature whereby, you know, artists are directly in contact with collectors. And Adam, the way that funnel is working at the moment is mainly through Twitter. So for some reason, Twitter has really become the tool of communication for NFT land. And, you know, as people, as collectors and as creators tweet about their collectors and creators, friendships are being built very, very quickly, right? I can't even count the number of just really tight friends who are creators in the space that I've been able to make over the last 2 years. However, I would like to bring up a more, you know, there's a good and a bad side, right, to having a direct relationship between the creator and collector. The good point is that a lot of wonderful friendships are forged. But then again, what happens if your collector is an extreme capitalist, right, and is looking for the best deal on your artwork? And the predominant reason why they reach out to creators is to say, hey, look, I bought 5 pieces of your artwork. Now give me 20% or 30% off of your next piece of artwork, right? You know, as a lot of artists, you know, artists have traditionally, you know, have left the commercial side up to galleries and up to their agents so that they never had to deal with those things. But all of a sudden in this, you know, direct creator to collector communication, you're going to have, you know, some more capitalist orientated collectors who are looking to inject that money conversation into the discussion. From my side as a collector, I've always been a proponent of saying a friendship is a friendship and commercial is commercial. So I'm very proud to say that in all of my conversations with my creators, you know, the topic of money or the topic of price is never something that comes up, which is maybe why I have a very good relationship with my creators and with my artists. But I can't imagine how difficult it will be, and it is for some of the creators today.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that you're absolutely right. There comes a point where, like, Twitter is that only, like, that's how I reach out, for example, to my guests, right? I don't, like, you can find emails online, you can find contact information online, but I feel like when it comes to the creator's point of view, when you want to engage with your collectors, with your audience specifically Obviously, social media is an avenue, but I feel like there's still a challenge to engage with anonymous people online and give them special perks unless you open that Discord channel, unless you open that Telegram channel and build a community around your audience. I wanna jump more, Greg. You're very obviously big on street art. We kind of touched upon this briefly, but how do you see, from a bigger point of view, street art and public art being integrated into the metaverse?
Yeah, again, I don't think it's really been tapped yet, but I'm very interested in, just the ephemeral nature of street art and the temporary aspect of it disappearing. I think it fits perfect for a way to create art that would live on forever, and then also the ability to do AR components and geolocated AR sculptures in public space as well. Those are all things that excite me. Like painting a mural on the streets, animating it via AR, and then selling that as an NFT. Like, we haven't seen a lot of that. So I've seen a lot of street artists that are just now starting to dabble with it and wrap their heads around NFTs and kind of how they can, how they can integrate their work into it. And then the other thing that's exciting to me is, the crowdfunding aspect of NFTs and ownership with public art as well. I mean, that's another thing we haven't seen, but producing large scale murals or massive installations or sculptures of that nature, these are things that are pretty pricey to do. And I think this creates a huge opportunity for artists to offer NFTs where people can then have ownership in these massive sculptures or installations that are produced on the streets. So those are just two things I think that we haven't even scratched the surface on, that we're probably going to see a lot more over the next few years.
And in FVCKRENDER, I know you just came out with a FVCKRENDERverse, right? The meta world for all of your projects. Could you speak about that really quick?
Yeah. So to me, the main thing I wanted to do. So my first contact with NFT was like, oh, I can make money out of selling image. So my first thought with my brain was like licensing image, and I really quickly realized that it's not about that at all, and it's something that goes way deeper than just licensing image. And this to me really was so interesting to me, and I thought about, okay, we have this new medium now. What can I do? How can I use this new technology to create something that has never been done before? And I've always wanted to create my own world, and I was piling up my NFTs, creating like art and stuff like this, and I was like, it would be sick if I have my own universe with all of my NFTs. So I was like, I was brainstorming, and I was just like, I really suck at finding a good name, so I just called that FVCKRENDERverse. And I made that really bad website, and I was like, that could be a thing. So I started to learn Unreal Engine, which is a game engine, and I created my first landscape and stuff like this, and I created like 6 NFTs, and I put the sculpture in a virtual world for people to experience the NFT in a different way. And I wanted kind of to be the first one to do this, and my first show was on Nifty Gateway. It was the planet called FV290B, which Oshiny owns now. So my goal was to create this planet and have these NFTs that was residing there, and for people to go there and invite their friends and just be like, hey, look, I own this piece. Like, I own this stance, and you go on this stance, and there's this QR code that links you to everybody that owns this piece on Nifty Gateway, which was something really interesting, and it was like a cool way for me to show off my NFTs that I was putting out for sale. And after this show, I was like, okay, this needs to go like way beyond. So I created, now that actually the next update is coming out in 2 days. I'm doing a giveaway for people that owns a soul stone and a spirit stone. So I created this this place in that FVCKRENDERverse called the memory dust, the memory dust is gonna be the place where I'm gonna do giveaways for my long-term holders, all my collectors that have some of my pieces. So in 2 days, I'm releasing this map where it's gonna be there's gonna be a pressure stone hidden in this map. The map is huge, and it's gonna take some time to find it. And the first 10 people to find this pressure stone there's gonna be a form popping out, and you'll enter your Nifty Gateway, and it's gonna shoot me an email to see, okay, I got all of these people. I'm gonna look at all the people that signed that form first and who owns Spirit Stone and Soul Stone, and they will be rewarded with that precious stone, which looks really like fucking sick. Really proud of this one, but yeah, I just wanted to create something that was like, that will be expandable and be like, my first thought in everything in life is, where is this gonna be in like 5-10 years or whatever? And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna create this FVCKRENDER that's gonna be expandable, but not too fast, because I want to keep things kind of scarce at some level. I don't want to liquidate too much of my artwork. But yeah, so, and I have this next drop on April 28th on Nifty Gateway, and I'm gonna start doing more more independently, but we'll still use Nifty because they've been so amazing to me. But yeah.
And that it's super interesting. And Greg, and this also comes into the perspective of you digitizing your work and bringing your murals to life, right? And Whale Shark, this also comes into the point of view of you creating now, what is it? It's called E1337 Metaware, right? And you trying to capitalize, or not monetarily capitalize, but take advantage and try to create more digital experiences for people, creating these digital identities for themselves, right? Each of you is creating your own digital worlds, your own digital experiences in your own unique wave. And Whale Shark, I'd love for you to actually quickly share, because we only have so much time left. Can you quickly talk more about this Metaware project that you're working on?
Would love to, Adam. Thank you for bringing it up. We've been running in stealth mode for quite a bit. So it's E1337, which is elite. So it's kind of like a nod to the hackerverse of the 2000s. Essentially, what we've seen is that, the metaverse is a thing, right? We're on Zoom calls, we're on video calls right now. But in 1 to 2 years down the road, I think all of us are going to be having this session. And Adam, I hope that perhaps in 1 year we can do a 1 year anniversary session and have all three of us in the metaverse rather than on video, right? So I think that's where we're going, right? And I think that COVID has really accelerated that digital presence. For us, looking at that, people do want to be able to represent themselves in the metaverse with a brand or with products that represent and that can really capture things that they love. So what we did was that we actually started building the world's very first luxury esports apparel brand in 2019. We launched it and sold out in December of last year. And it was a pure physical brand, right? Everything was handmade, QA checked 5 times and all of that beautiful stuff. But then after that, we saw that, there was a high demand for it in the digital metaverse. So what we decided to do, and we're dropping on April the 30th, is that we are going to take a lot of that physical wear that we developed, develop high-res 3D models of it, make sure that it's innovative and creative enough for the metaverse, and actually drop that on April the 30th. So we're excited about it. We're very, very long metaverse. We're very, very long metaverse fashion. And, we hope that it's a way that our collectors can actually use it to express the inner technologist within themselves when they're in the metaverse.
So does this mean if I purchase a FVCKRENDER piece or a GREGMIKE piece, that I can now wear it on a t-shirt or on a hat or pants in the metaverse?
So we are very specific just to the design elements of Elite. But dude, I would love to wear a FVCKRENDER or GREGMIKE t-shirt in the space, man. All day, and they have, I know that FVCKRENDER and Greg have the agree, to take their artwork and wrap it around a 3D model. And actually, Greg, I would love to be able to walk around crypto voxels as a GREGMIKE can, right? I think that would be freaking amazing. But yeah, they have that. You know, they own the commercial. They're the creators of it. They'd be able to do that in a second.
I'd love to see that. I can imagine one of those cans that you created, GREGMIKE, and then with your spectacles, whale shark, just rolling around the universe or the metaverse, and that'd be super fun. I wanna quickly jump into QA because we're running out of time here, but I want to make sure that I try to capture a lot of what the audience is asking. So the first one comes from YouTube, KD the Great. Okay, do you guys think that digital art is outpacing traditional art? And feel free to quick blurb because I'll hit you guys with a few of these QAs.
I don't think it's outpacing. I think it's just a new medium, and I think like traditional and digital have their own place there. But for sure, it's gonna be a step. Just give me one sec. It's going to be a little bit more of a step for, I feel, traditional artists and than digital artists, because they have to convert their files to some sort of digital art. But I think at the end of the day, we just need to work all together. Like I'd be more than happy to take a traditional artist and create like a collaboration. Like I don't think it's about like acceleration, or I think it should be more a collaboration and be able to help those who were there before, and like just make sure everybody can come in the space, if that makes sense.
Sure. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think obviously there's a lot of talk of it going on right now because it's super popular at the moment, but I don't think it's outpacing it. I think there's still the amount of traditional work being produced. I don't think it's slowing down. Like traditional work is slowing down. I just think most people are receiving their news through social media, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, and these NFTs and anything digital art in general plays so well with that. So that's what's kind of overpopulating those channels. So I definitely think there's room for both, and you're gonna like Fred Fuck Render was saying, you're gonna see more and more of those traditional artists once they're understanding how they work in the space are gonna transfer over. It's just a matter of time, and it's solidifying itself in the market.
Cool. Whale Shark, how do you feel about that?
So I think there's room and space for both. I see digital art as a way that the art auction market is going to be able to capitalize on a younger market, right? You have a younger market that spends over 50% of their time online, that has access to 3 screens at least, right? Computer, cell phone, and TV. I think you're going to see a new generation of collectors emerge, but definitely I think both will hold their value.
Perfect. Another question: 5 years from now, what are the most surprising NFTs you guys imagine people trading in the metaverse? Like we're seeing art, we're seeing music, right? What other types of like digital formats would you guys be surprised to see like taking pace in a few years?
It's a very good question. I think maybe like furniture, because we're all gonna have our own virtual houses, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, that works. Greg, any point of view on this? I can come back to you.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Run it to Whale. Come back to me.
Well, what do you think?
I think 5 years from now, anything that is of value or anything that provides access is an NFT. So let me just clarify that. So the first thing I think, again, NFTs are a perfect way to do real estate deeds as well as deeds for physical properties, right? Or any physical assets. So I think that's the first thing that I'd like to see. So it's taking anything that's physical and making it digital. When I talk about access, I mean, and this might not be 5 years. This might actually be very, very quick. But tickets, car keys, right? If you want to access your Tesla, now it's an NFT. I think all of that sort of emergence is going to occur. But I can't wait. I mean, 5 years is like 50 years in real time, right?
Sure.
But I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff.
Greg, what do you think?
I think we're going to see like a lot of things in the audio space that we haven't seen. Whether that's conversations, exclusive, closed door conversations with high profile individuals, or thought leaders, I think, that are only accessible by NFTs, like one-of-one conversations. I think that's cool. Yeah, I think there's a lot of room in the audio space. That's exciting me.
Amazing. Okay, this next question comes from John Dorfman, and this is coming from Remo, where people are chatting and drinking with each other. What is the best first step for an artist to bring their content into the meta space or NFT space? Really quick, we can do the same thing from each of you. A couple words.
Yeah. To me, like the main thing is like, I think it's just put out the work you love and just like be. The most important thing, I think, it's be patient and don't be too pushy about selling. Just be pushy about making art, but don't be pushy about selling, because I feel this is really something that will push other people not to buy. If you're always like putting your art in comments of everybody, that's very dangerous. But I feel like just if you do you and be patient, like we all have like pieces that never got sold for like months, and it's totally fine. Like it's okay. Like I have pieces that took 4 months to sell, and now they sold. And just be patient, do the work that you love the most.
Amazing. GREGMIKE, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important just to create for the sake of creating and the love of creating. Like the reason why you got into art. I mean, there's so many people now that reach out to me that either want an introduction email to a certain platform to get a drop and think that that's the only way that they're going to make it. They're waiting and holding back their artwork to get a drop on a platform. Like I think it's important just to create and do it why you love to do it and put out. There's so many different platforms. Like Whale was saying that, like, you don't need to rely on a specific, we call them gallery. I mean, I look at the marketplaces as galleries, curated gallery marketplaces. It's all the same to me. It's like, it's the same thing as like, in the traditional physical world, like you don't like wait to get like, a big gallery show with a massive gallery in New York City. Like you create art and you put it on the streets, or you produce your own shows, or, like just get it out there. And if your stuff's hot and people are into it, then you're going to get collectors. And, you shouldn't just sit around and wait. And I feel like there's a lot of that going on, of people that are kind of wasting time when really they can be putting their art out to the world.
Fair. Whale Shark, how do you feel about this?
So I think FVCKRENDER and Greg covered it pretty well. The first thing is be authentic to yourself, right? The main thing that I'm looking for as a collector is I'm looking for an artist with a strong signature, right? And the only way that you're going to have a strong signature is if you be authentic to what you want to create and not what the market wants from you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is make sure you have a website or have a way that I can learn as much about you as possible. I'm going to reply to tweets that give a nice introduction of that artist, rather than someone who's tweeting out to me and saying, hey, check this out, I'm going to moon FOMO in now, right? I'm not going to check that out, right? I want to see a website. I want to understand more about the artist. And after the third thing is to get on Twitter, right? Again, NFT land exists on Twitterverse. As long as you're polite about reaching out to collectors, we'll always reply and we'll always go take a look. So yeah, I think that's it. Be authentic, have a website, and get on Twitter.
Amazing. Guys, I think that's a great way to end off. Again, cheers to each of you. Thank you for being on Blockchain and Booze. And we should definitely do that 1-year reunion and see where we are, because you're absolutely right. 1 year feels like 10 years in crypto world and NFT world and the digital world. So thank you to each of you. And before I let you guys go, really quick, we have my favorite part of Blockchain and Booze that makes this show different from all the rest. It's the networking part. So that starts at 6. And everybody that's watching live on Twitter right now, go to meet.blockchainbooze.io. And over here, you'll basically be able to meet everyone that's been hanging out, drinking, chatting. And when I end presentation mode, we'll all disperse to these colorful tables, and we'll be able to click from seat to seat and meet everybody. So meet.blockchainbooze.io. Make sure you join. Make sure you have your camera on and your microphone on. And speakers, I encourage you guys to hang out as well. I know there's people in the audience that would love to meet with you and have a drink with you and chat with you. So if you are down, meet.blockchainbooze.io. Guys, thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Adam. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
See you guys.
See ya.